All right. And I think that's done it. I think we are live now. So I think my Zoom meeting is going to quickly direct over to YouTube. There it goes. Awesome. Hello, everybody watching YouTube live now and in the future. My name is Danny Zogian, and I am a lead instructor for Actualize Coding Bootcamp. And today you are about to observe our online students' graduation. They're going to be presenting their projects today. I've got 9 graduates who are going to be presenting their projects today. So before we get started on all of the presentations, I want to talk a tiny bit about what you're about to see, a little bit about Actualize Coding Bootcamp. So firstly, you're about to see presentations of students from my graduating cohort. These students have come to take a coding bootcamp. They have learned web development fundamentals over the last 4 months. And essentially, they've built projects from the ground up. They've built a back end and a front end, all from scratch, using the tools that they have learned here at Actualize Coding Bootcamp. More importantly than the actual tools of building a back end and a front end, they have learned a more important trait, which is developer mentality, which is basically teaching yourself, learning to teach yourself new things. And that's really what Actualize teaches. We teach you how to learn really effectively and really well. My job is super awesome. I love my job because I get to hit the intersection of being a mentor and being a teacher, which I love to do, and also getting to code, which I love to do. But even greater than that is that I get to work with super motivated and determined individuals. All the students that you are going to see today came here on their own accord, decided that they wanted to make a career transition, took a giant brave leap of faith, joined a coding bootcamp, and learned all the web development fundamentals. So my job is great because I get to work with all these super motivated people who are really excited to be here and want to transition their careers in a similar sense to a lot of people that have, and I've done the same. I transitioned my career, so I can very much attest to what they have gone through and what they have endured and where they're headed. So I'm very excited about these presentations today. Before we get started on the presentations, I've got a couple of panelists here in the room. I also want to make a couple of shout outs. So first thing I want to do is just shout out all the people that helped out with this cohort, all the people who helped out with making this happen. Of course, our awesome CEO, Jay, we wouldn't be here without you. So thank you for making Actualize a thing. You'll hear from Jay in just a minute. Wanted to thank my other panelist, Eric, here today, who you'll be hearing from in just a second as well. Wanted to thank my awesome TAs, Rob and Ryan. Thank you guys for helping out the students and doing everything you do. And of course, want to thank our awesome career counselors, Lisa and Sarah. They have put all of their heart and soul into ensuring that these students actually go and get jobs afterwards. We have lots of job training and things like that built into Actualize, and our awesome career counselors, career advisors, put a lot of work into each of the cohorts and each of the students. So before we get started today, I do want to introduce our 2 panelists who are going to be asking the students/grads a few questions today. So firstly, I'd love to introduce Jay, our CEO, who will be paneling today, and give him just a moment to say a few words.
Thank you, Danny. So I'm Jay. I'm really excited to see everyone's capstone presentations. As Danny mentioned, what the students who are now grads endured over the past several months is very intense, and it really speaks a lot to their growth mentality and their persistence and really being brave and confidence in themselves. And this, today is really the culmination of that, where the work has really paid off, and I'm really excited to see everyone's projects. I also just want to take this time to thank, like Danny did, everyone involved with this, making this cohort happen. So specifically, I'd like to start by thanking Danny, who is our incredible lead instructor, who has led this cohort from start to finish. And she's been facilitating the online live courses since their inception. And kudos to her, and thank you for everything you do. Also wanted to thank everyone else involved, Rob and Ryan, the TAs, and Lisa, Sarah from our careers team, and everyone else who played a part in this. So thank you all, and I'm looking forward to the presentations.
Awesome. Thanks, Jay. And you'll be hearing from Jay a little bit later, who'll be paneling for some of our students. And I also want to just briefly introduce our other panelist, my friend Eric, who's here today. Eric, if you want to say a few brief words about what you do and just introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Danny, and thanks again for the opportunity, you and Jay. That's really appreciated. So I'm an engineer in the Midwest and work for an e-commerce company, and basically do a lot of data aggregation, a lot of data work, a little bit of front end barely, but yeah, just doing that all self-taught. So I feel like I can really relate to, I think, what a lot of folks here are going to be able to convey and present, having gone through some of these same, hurdles and learning experiences. And it's just great to, being able to brush up and learn how to learn. And it's a continuous journey, right? So yeah, I'm really excited to be here. It's appreciated. And yeah, that's what I got. That's who I am.
Awesome. Thanks, Eric. I really appreciate you being here today as well. Awesome. So we're going to go ahead and get started with our actual student presentations. So my first student to present today is going to be Casey. So Casey, go ahead, share your screen, take it away for us.
All right, let's get started, y'all. And boop. Everybody see my screen? Cool. Anyways, I'm Casey. To the people I haven't met, nice to meet you guys. Outside of computer science and software engineering, I'm pretty active in the music community. It's been something I've done for a long time now, and specifically have been a DJ for a long time. And that is kind of where the genesis of my Capstone idea came from. As a DJ, one thing that a lot of us struggle with is taking song requests from people. And it's not so much the requests themselves as it is the tact that people have and dealing with, people under the influence of alcohol, spilling drinks and doing all kinds of things. I've seen it all, trust me. So that's where the idea for my application came from. And it is called SpinTax. So I'll pop it open here. So this is kind of the main splash screen here. I'm going to go ahead and log out so we can kind of get the full functionality going. But we've got a sort of just kind of boilerplate sign up and login process. I'm not going to bother creating a new account. I'm just going to log in as myself, so just so we can get to some actual data here. But I will log in as me, and takes us back to the homepage here. And so here we kind of have the profile functionality, which is a pretty big deal for DJs. It's kind of a way for us to build our brand, get more followers on social media. And I've also integrated some payment applications like Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, that sort of thing. And I'll get to kind of why a little bit later. But my thought process with a lot of this was to kind of keep things fairly mobile centric, or at least have mobile users in mind. And I'll get to a little bit more of that later, but all these links for the profile stuff, they all open in new windows. So if you're on your phone and you click the Venmo link, it'll pop up in Venmo and go to the DJ's Venmo page and that sort of thing. If you go to the profile editing, you can plug in all your information. You can kind of do your thing here. And I'll show you a couple different little things that'll come into play later. This link down here, this Serato Live playlist URL, that's not something that's reflected on the main profile page, but it's integrated into the application a little later, and I'll explain what that is a little later. But on the profile pick, I was able to implement Cloudinary for image uploading. So if people want to choose their own profile pic, they don't have to worry about having a already online image URL or anything like that. They can upload their picture there. All that other stuff, yeah, it populates over here. And this little button here, this display QR code button, is kind of a big piece of the functionality of the app. So anytime you create a new account and on your, when you log into your profile, you'll have the ability to generate a QR code. This is designed for, the DJ as he's playing, as he's at the bar or club, whatever, he can pull this up on his phone, have people scan this QR code, and that pushes them directly to his requests page. I also kind of added a little bit of print functionality just in case somebody wanted to print it out and, set it on the table next to them, or make a sticker out of it and slap it on their laptop or something, so they can do that. If they want to save it to their phone, they can do that too. So that QR code points people to the main functionality of the app, which is the requests page. And this is kind of the meat and potatoes of everything here. So Basically what this is a way for people to, go to a DJ specific page and say, hey, I want to hear a song, as opposed to going up to them in real life. Obviously with social distancing, there's a lot of trouble there lately, and you don't want people spitting in your face and yelling at you and that sort of thing. So that was kind of the idea with this. But here you will see the ability to make a song request. You can see I've got a couple songs in there populated already. But if somebody wants to make a new request, they can go in here. They can say, hey, I want to hear Single Ladies by Beyonce. Everybody loves that song. Something for the ladies. So here they can add the song they want. They can have the comments. They can say, hey, can I get a shout out, or hey, it's my birthday, or whatever. And then I added this little thing down here. It's like, hey, tipping is pretty encouraged. If you want to throw the DJ a couple bucks, it'll probably increase your chances of getting your song played. But if we hit submit, we can see that it adds that right onto the top of the list of requests. You can see how long ago they made it and a status of pending. So the DJ has full control over this. If they want to say, hey, I don't want to play that song, they can decline it. It'll say declined here. If they want to approve it, they can say it's approved here. Now, the one big factor with this is I really wanted everything to be in real time. It was pretty important for me to implement that. So the request process is actually using WebSockets. So if I go into a new incognito window here, and this is what the non-logged in user would kind of see. And when they scan the QR code, it would point them to this, which is the DJ's requests. So obviously all the controls are gone. None of the admin functions are there, but they can go in and make a request. They can see, hey, people already requested this, or, you don't want to double up on songs. But if we go in and make a new request, somebody wants to hear, say, Stay Fly by 3-6 Mafia, a classic hip hop track. Boom, boom, boom. Thanks, DJ. They can pop that in, and as you can see on the right side, it populates on the fly in real time, which is cool. If I approve that, it'll say approved in real time too. Another pretty cool thing that I was able to implement is a web scraper, because it was kind of important to me for people to be able to see what current song was playing. So I actually integrated that into my DJ software via a web scraper. So if somebody requested this Stay Fly song, I can pop it open on my DJ software over here, play that song, boop, and then my DJ software will actually push that song that I'm currently playing to the website of the company that makes the software. So when that happens, and it takes it a second, it's probably gonna take forever now that I actually need it to. But anyways, once that pops open on the website, I can actually hit this show current song button, which is not gonna show it because it's not popping up correctly on the website, which is unfortunate. But I was able to integrate a web scraper called Cheerio, which essentially scrapes the website of the DJ software's company's website that I use, and it shows the current track. So that was just a kind of a cool thing that I was able to do last minute. Unfortunately, it did not work correctly, which is really unfortunate, but it does normally work. So that's kind of the main functionality of everything. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Awesome. Thanks, Casey. So I'm going to throw it on over to Eric to ask a few questions.
Yeah, this is very cool. I love music. So I was named after Eric Clapton. So you kind of suckered me in here. This is great. So one thing that stood out in a way is like there's a lot of integrations, which is really cool. What would you say was the most challenging or interesting integration you had to deal with?
Probably the WebSockets. The integrating the WebSocket into the actual request process wasn't super difficult, but once I started adding functionality to it, like the approve and decline, where it kind of shows up here in real time, Once you start kind of piling on the extra, conditionals and things like that, it got a little confusing. Just because I hadn't really dealt with it before, but it was really cool to learn, and I overcame the hump relatively quickly. So that was probably the most challenging part, just because I had the least amount of experience with it for sure.
Yeah, I feel like that's a common theme in this type of industry. One more real quick is I'm assuming, the request feature was kind of something that was like the driving force, right? From the way you worded things. What was something that maybe you thought would be, as you're progressing through it, like that was out of scope, or like, Greg, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to squeeze this in, but I'd really like to think something like that. Does anything come to mind?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So the actual name of the app is SpinTax, which is obviously a play on the word syntax and the word spin, DJs. But the other kind of play on words there was that, if you're going to request a spin, you would pay the tax, or, like give a tip. So there's a little bit of a double meaning there. But what I really, like when I had the idea, I really wanted to integrate like actual payments into the app, like some sort of Venmo API or something like that. But I kind of realized that was maybe a little bit of a moonshot. Also, it felt a little weird to kind of play with money. And it also felt like it might be kind of difficult to test that effectively in real time without, sending myself money or like creating a ghost account or whatever. So I really did want to integrate some type of payment system in there, but that became a little much.
Sure. I mean, yeah, great, iteration feature for later or what have you. So very, very cool. Well done.
Yeah. Thanks, Casey. Thanks for presenting. Yes. And I don't know why it took me this long, but now I understand the second play on words of this. I understood SpinTax like spinning and syntax, and I didn't understand the spin tax. And now I get it. And that's hilarious. And that's awesome.
If you go up to a DJ in real life and you got $20 in your hand, he will play your song. I guarantee.
You're paying the spin tax. Yeah, I see it now, and I'm very embarrassed it took me this long. Very clever. Well done. Okay.
Appreciate it.
Sweet. Thanks, Casey, so much. I am about to throw it over to our very next presenter. So Isis, go ahead and take over for us when you're ready.
Right. Let's see here. Okay, so my name is Isis Aguilar, and today I'm going to show you my awesome app. It's called Vibe Tribe. I created this app pretty much because there's so much negativity in social media. Like, that's all it is. It's just negative and news and nothing fun. So I just wanted a place where you could post positive like messages or like just pictures, GIFs, anything that's just positive and happy and high vibes. So that's the concept behind Vibe Tribe. Here you have this awesome little sign up page. Join the Vibe Tribe. You could put your profile, like a picture, all that good stuff. We're gonna go ahead and log in as me. And let's see, this is my actual email address. So anyone wants to hit me up with a job or anything, I'm here. And so it takes you to this cool little profile page, which I thought it was pretty cool. I want more colors, but for now, this is awesome. This is all my recent posts right here, which is all manifesting my dream job currently. You have the ability to create a new post from this little button. And the way I set it up is you can have a blurb, which in my mind is like kind of like a tweet post, like 140 characters max. A blog could be like as long as you want it to be. You could post an image or video URL. And I'm gonna go ahead and create a post real quick. And let's do this. And whenever I create a post, it takes me to the post page right here, which is pretty cool. It has the ability to put comments on here, light and love, all that good stuff, just keeping it positive. You can go over here to this lovely little button of posts, and it shows you all the users' posts. We have cool little high vibes quote. Excuse me. You have all these cool posts by other users, by Bobby. You have Aspen posting cool stuff, just all happy, positive things here. You can actually go in and say, I really like this post. And I'm going to put it to manifesting my dream job, which is a cool little board that I created. And when you go back up here, you can go to boards, and it has this. And these are all the posts that I have saved to this board, particular board, which I thought was pretty cool. You can go to the post from here. Actually, let's go back to the main page, and I can check this out. This is a cool post that I really love. Looks like someone already commented, and I'm going to go ahead and add a comment on here. And yeah, so you can do all this cool stuff. I think my favorite part of this, or like the best part about working on this, it was kind of a challenge, but I loved, was this little like profile editing thing. I originally wanted it to be a modal that just pops up, but it just wasn't going to work out. So I had to have some help to make it inline. When you click this button, it actually creates a variable that makes it editable or not editable, which I thought was a pretty cool thing to do. And I could change it to whatever I want, and it updates right away. And once I click save, it changes the variable back. So that's pretty much what's going on with that. Yeah, I think the hardest thing about all this was probably I can't delete a user and I can't delete a post because of the way I set up my associations. It would kind of break things. So I definitely want to work on that in the future. Yeah, this is Vibe Tribe.
All right, I'm going to throw it on over to Eric to ask a couple questions.
Cool. Yeah, good stuff, Isis. I'm gonna have the trouble asking questions. There's so much to ask, right? Very curious. So when it comes to the front end, right, trying to organize all this really just data, right? Present it to the user. What's like the front end technology or technologies you used?
So Vue.js, and then Bootstrap for the theme. So it was implementing that, like creating the Vue.js and making it like basic and ugly, and then making it really pretty with the Bootstrap theme. Sure.
Yeah. And you kind of mentioned earlier, maybe there's something else. What's something that maybe that you didn't get around to, but what's something that you wish you went around or did differently in terms of like implementation?
I think in terms of implementation, I would have wanted to, instead of like copying and pasting the Giphy URLs, I really wanted to integrate the Giphy API, which is something I'll probably do in the future. And for like mobile, because I think this is something that I want to actually use and like have my friends use. When I actually like deploy it to mobile, I do want to have the option to use Cloudinary, so you can just get the pictures directly from your phone.
Yeah, good stuff. Appreciate it, Ice. This is very cool.
Thanks.
All righty, thank you, Isis. Also, that GIF made me just lol my face off. I don't know if you saw me over here in the like little tiny camera. The I'm here, I'm queer, need a career. I just like that killed me. That was so funny. Awesome. All right, thank you so much, Isis. I'm gonna throw it on over to our next presenter. We are speeding through today. Laura, you're up. Show us your pretty things.
All right. All right. Hello, my name is Laura Keeley, and I created an app that I called Garden Gathers. I did not grow up living in a city, but I live in a city now, and driving around, I always see the community gardens, and I'm very fascinated by them. I don't know much about them. And 3 years ago, I moved into my house where I have my own yard. So I'm out often in my yard when it's nice here in the Midwest. And I've been just kind of teaching myself gardening things. So I wanted to create a space where people could like come together and share their knowledge and learn from others and ask questions, and also be able to create meetups and meet together, whether it's at those community gardens or other places, and just get together. So this is the homepage. If you're not logged in or you don't have an account, you can still come to the homepage and you can see all of the posts that exist right now. And then you can sign up and create your own account so you can make posts. Signing up is super easy, pretty simple. But if you sign in, everything basically looks the same. On the homepage, you still see all the posts. You can filter posts basically anywhere that you can see posts on here. You can filter through and find ones. Up here in the nav bar, there's categories. All posts belong to a category. And then once you log in, you can create a post and you can go to your profile. When on each post, you can go into different categories right from the post, and that just sorts it down to only posts in that category. You can also go to the author of that post. When you go to somebody's profile, you can see their profile picture and their name and where they're located and any posts that they have created, and you can also search there as well. If you go to your own profile, that you can see all of your posts, basically all the same stuff, but then you can edit your information and update it. And you can also delete your own. Creating a post is probably my favorite part of this whole thing, because I implemented the Ferrala text editor, so you can really make it your own and make every post super unique. I just have to grab some text. So within this text editor, you can edit text and make it look any way. You can change the colors and the font and the size of the font and everything. And the other really great thing is that you can upload images right into your posts that you're creating. And you can move them around. And change the size and things like that. And then sorry. And then when you create it, it goes back to the homepage. If a post belongs, and then it shows all the different editing that you do. And then if a post belongs to you, you can edit it and it takes you right back to that Ferrala editor, and you can change anything that you want within there. The other portion of this is the meetups. And right now this is like very bulletin board-esque, and you can just see different meetups that exist, when they're going to happen, where they're going to happen. And if you go into them, it gives you more information about that meetup. Other than that, I think the most difficult part of all of this was that I didn't plan ahead. Once I was implementing my theme, I just kind of like made a general overview of the page that I was working on, and then I would work on another page, and then I would be like, oh, I forgot a button, and then I would go back, and then I would have to add a button and build up that stuff. But other than that, I think that's all I have.
All right, Laura, thanks for presenting. And yeah, I'm going to throw it over to Eric to ask a couple questions.
Yeah. What is, like I said earlier, what can I ask? There's so many questions to ask. Laura, what did you think was maybe more enjoyable, like the front end or the back end? Did you gravitate towards one more than the other?
I think I would say the back end. I think I'm just more comfortable working with the back end, but I did learn a lot in the front end. The front end was very fun, but implementing the theme was like tedious in a different way than coding. So that was very interesting.
Yeah, different mindset. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And as a backend engineer, I relate there. What was the backend technology on that note? If that's what you enjoyed most, what's going on there?
We used Ruby on Rails to make our backend. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. I like it. Good job, Laura.
Thanks.
Awesome, Laura. Thanks for sharing. Laura has also very kindly shared some actual plant tips with me at this cohort, and I'm hoping that I can keep some of these plants that I have that are new in my home alive. Thank you for that, Laura. All righty, and I'm going to pass it on over to our next presenter. Who's up next? It's John.
Let me get this. Okay. Hey guys, I'm John, and this is Apartamento. So for context on this app, in mid cohort, I had to find a house, and I live in Los Angeles, so finding a place to live was just really brutal. Definitely, you're sending out like 20 applications like a week, just hoping one will like write you back. Okay, maybe not 20, but you know. So this is the spreadsheet that we used, and it was very ugly. It was just very hard to look at. There's just a lot of stuff floating around, and it made for a miserable experience. So when it came to like thinking about capstone projects, obviously this was just a very prominent issue for me. So I decided to make an app for it. So we can start with the user sign up. So the way signing up for this works is this is meant for a group of people. So the first user to sign up will actually pass over here a group name, and that'll also create a group at the same time. And inside the group, there's a place to grab a referral link. So if I were to sign up with this referral link, so I just had this one saved here, and sign up with some kind of you will be added to the group down here. You've got your test dude here. You've got your user page, pretty basic stuff, really. You can add an image there, make yourself look pretty. You can also delete yourself if you really wanted to. So that's that. You've got like a group image here. You've got a group name. You can change those if you wanted to with this edit group button. But really the big meat is just all of these listings here showed in a grid here. Just like a bunch of cards for each listing. Each listing has a bunch of basic information: beds, baths, square feet, rent, the picture, and then you can also add hyperlinks to like the actual listing itself, and that'll open a new tab for you. Cool stuff. Originally, I thought about implementing like or pulling from like an API to get a lot of information and like getting it to show up really nicely, like on like a listing show page or whatever. But I decided against that because there are professionals who already did that, and might as well just send you to the actual site instead of trying to parse all that information myself. So we can create a listing here. It'll show up down here. You got your new listing here. And then I've also got it so you can add comments to each listing, blah, blah, blah. You can add comments, let's say over here, blah, blah, blah. And another thing is I have it such that you can delete comments as well, but it only shows up, the delete button only shows up if it's your own comment. So you can delete your own comment. Obviously, you don't want to be able to delete other people's comments, maybe. Then obviously you can edit listings. So one thing that came up during this project, and is just kind of like one of the, kind of a problem that kind of models all the other problems that I have with making a single page application like this, is when it came to creating this listing edit modal, there's a few problems. So for one, this is all of this data here is modeling a variable called like current listing or something like that. And that variable is itself modeling this listing back here. And what's interesting in Java or JavaScript is that you can't actually create a new variable, or like variables when they're referencing objects aren't their own variables. They're actually referencing the object in the background. So if I edit this here, you can actually see the object in the background being edited in real time, which made it really troublesome for me when, because when you close that without wanting to save it, it previously just kept everything there, which was really bad. So what I had to do was basically I had to create a new object, fill it with the old object. Like I have like an old object like variable, and fill it with like the previous stuff basically, so that when you click close, you would reinstantiate the new object with the old object. And I don't know, that was just like a weird but cool implementation that I had to do. Another thing is with comments, I originally had a bunch of like comment boxes just like sitting around on the bottom of these listings here. And like what would happen is you're modeling like a new comment like parameter or whatever. So when you would type in one box, you would actually end up typing in every single box at the same time. And that was just like, it looked really stupid. So obviously I had to fix that. So yeah, there's just like a lot of different stuff like that. So like another thing I had to think about, which this is just like a fun little like UI thing for me, was when you open one of these comment boxes and you type stuff, right? You would think there's only two ways to exit the comment box. You can click cancel, and then like that'll just close the comment box, or you can click save, and it'll write the comment, right? But actually, there's a third way to do that, which is if you type in here and then you click on new comment on another comment box, it would close that comment box and open a new one, right? And there was just like a weird idea there, is that like you would have to clear the comment box not on closing it, but actually on opening it. And I don't know, that was just really interesting and fun to me, like a nice quirky idea. So yeah, I think that's all I have for you guys.
Awesome. Thanks, John. Yeah, I remember John telling me yesterday, he's like, I like a lot of these like small logic things. And I was like, you should talk about that. Yeah, I love that you talked a little bit about like how JavaScript actually works, and like what you're referencing is like in JavaScript, when you assign a new variable to an existing variable, and the existing variable is an object, JavaScript actually doesn't make a copy. It like just points to now both variables are pointing to the same object, instead of each variable holding a separate copy of that object. And JavaScript does that super intentionally to save space. But like when you need to get around that, how can we sort of do that? And you found some interesting workarounds there. So nice. I love all this little logic. I think it's super fun too. I'm going to throw it over to Eric for a few questions.
Yeah. Yeah, a few things were answered, which is awesome. Because I remember I've had similar challenges and hurdles. Um, and I'm in a data-centric world. I guess we all are, if you want to get all philosophical. But so when it comes to the like back end side of things, like there's all this stuff happening in the front end. Is it actually saving to some sort of data store or database, or is it like all in like in a JSON or something?
Yeah, so it's being stored in a Postgres database,
Oh, okay.
just like locally on my computer. So if we look at the Rails console here, you can see it's making a bunch of like SQL calls, stuff like that. So all of this information is being actively saved whenever like I make a new comment. So like if I make this here, blah 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 blah, you can actually see that being created here, blah 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 blah.
Very
So
cool.
that's being saved locally for now.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I'm a contributor on a open source project that uses Postgres. The gotcha is that it doesn't delete data. Everything you do is additive. So when you hit delete, it actually just says don't show or don't use. So if you're interested ever in that, yeah, I just gave a software conference talk about it. But another kind of question I have is well, I kind of went over it. What was a hurdle that just kind of popped up? It wasn't on your radar, and how did you go about that?
So maybe not entirely off my radar because like I kind of knew what I was getting to, trying to make a single page application, but there's a lot of nested data. Like you've got like comments under listings, under group, all related to users. And then like if you delete a user, you have to also delete it from the group and stuff like that. And it was like the architecture was like pretty complex for for someone who's like really new to it. So there was definitely a lot of like having to rewrite a lot of the routes in my backend and stuff as the project like started coming alive, especially when I got to the front end and you could start seeing all the issues popping up. So yeah, there's just a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah, I can put the title of the book, but I've been rereading a book that talks about that because honestly, on my team just last month, it feels like half my time, maybe it's like less, but half my time it feels like it's just talking about data modeling and best practices and stuff because my team uses we save about a gig of data in Postgres a day, and we sometimes that's just what happens and that's what you need, but it's creating complexity for developers, just like you're explaining, where it's very tough to wrangle and work with it. So how can we make it easier, but also not lose that what we call like a business value? So very, very cool stuff, John.
Yeah. And I love that you mentioned that too, because it's really interesting because these students are like super brand new to all of web development. And not only are they like building a back end and a front end, which they have done, but they actually model their own database schemas. So they model everything themselves and like figure out what that architecture should look like. And obviously, first time round as like a brand new developer, it's not always going to be perfect. And that's kind of what this is sort of figuring out where are the pain points and where are the flaws with that and like what can I do better for next time. But yeah, John had a ton of nested data here. We've got group, and then a group has a bunch of listings, and each listing has a bunch of comments. So the JSON just looks absolutely nuts and wild. And the fact that he was able to like wrangle it all into this one page, pretty cool.
Yeah, super cool. And as I'm sure you guys have talked about, like there are fields, like literally professions just focused on that. So
Yes.
Very, very cool stuff.
1,000%. Yeah, I let these guys know we actually learned 1 day worth of SQL knowledge in this class, which for those of you watching, SQL is a database query language. And there are jobs just dedicated to making SQL queries, and they know how to do that, which is pretty cool. So awesome. Thank you so much, John, for presenting. And I'm going to throw it on over to our next presenter, who is Nikki. Take it away, Nikki.
Hi, everybody. My name is Nikki. I made an app called Tindog. This app is called that. It's supposed to be kind of a play on Tinder. It takes the information from the user who is a potential dog adopter on their lifestyle and their living arrangements, and it matches them with suitable rescue dogs. The TN also stands for Tennessee. All these dogs that show up are from a 200-mile radius around Chattanooga, which is where I live. And I made this app because growing up, I did a lot of obedience training and agility with dogs, so I know a lot about raising them. And people who are first-time dog owners often will adopt dogs for the wrong reason. For example, they love Jack Russell Terriers because they're bonkers and they're cute. But maybe they work 12 hours a day and they don't know that they need all sorts of attention. And if you don't give them the attention, they get bored and destructive, and then they end up back in the rescue place, which makes everybody sad. So I'm going to sign up Danny's cat Ace. Yesterday, it was Cheddar. She got in trouble. So she talked Ace into doing it today. So and the sign up process is pretty easy. So once a user signs up, and it brings them right to their edit user page. And this page, there's a lot of API requests going on here. The first one on this page is in specific, this drop-down list for breed. It's pinging the API, the Pet Finder API, to get their list of breeds. And that just kind of helps so that people don't accidentally type it in wrong and gives them a better chance of success for matching. And then over here, especially on the required side, it takes all the answers to these questions and it tailors a specialized query. And that query is then sent to the Pet Finder API. And then it returns dogs that kind of match with what the person has answered, or in this case, the cat. So Ace lives in an apartment and he doesn't have experience training a dog. He's never done it before. So what this is going to do is give him back dogs that are small to medium in size and are already potty trained. So he's going to say update profile, and it will take him to all his matches. So all of these dogs should be small to medium based on what the rescue agency put in there. And they should all be potty trained. So you can pick any one of these dogs and you get their basic information. Elisa here, she's a medium-sized dog, and then it gives her a description. One of the problems with the API is it gives you a truncated description. So to work around that, I put a link in here. It goes right to Pet Finder's website, and you can read the whole description if you want to. And then it also gives you the main points about the dog. She's house trained and she's good with other dogs, cats, kids, her medical background. You can make her a favorite with this button. You got another API request going on here. The dog object that the API returns has a rescue agency ID. So the backend takes that ID and it pings the API again and gets all the organization information, which is what populates this here. You can go to the agency's website, fill out their forms and what have you. And there's a contact form too that will send an email to this email here. You can see more photos of her. She's a real cutie. And then you can click this button and make her a favorite. One of the things I would love to do is make it like Tinder, where you can swipe left and right to make her a favorite or not a favorite. Then Ace goes back to matches. Let's just say that he would really like to have a big dog. Maybe he has a big apartment. So he can go in here and he can put this in and override it. When he updates his profile, he gets bigger dogs that are also potty trained. So he looks through the dogs and look, there's an Ace. So he picks Ace. And Ace looks like a good doggy. One of the things I'd also like to add in here is maybe a map showing where the rescue agency is located. So let's just say he wants to adopt maybe Ace as well. He puts them on his favorites. So he ends up with a page full of favorites. He can filter them out by their age or their name. If he has a whole bunch and he remembers the name, he can type it in there and just get that one. From here, he can also go back to that dog show page. When he does that from his favorites, when he goes to the dog show page, if the dog is a favorite, that favorite button is now hidden. That actually took quite a bit of work to do because my favorite table is a join table and the dogs actually don't have a table because they come from the API. So we had to do some interesting things there. So say Ace decides, well, we can't have another Ace. So he takes Ace off of his favorites list and he's gonna adopt this cutie Elisa. So he puts in an application and he's accepted her. So now he doesn't really need a profile on here anymore. He can delete it and it will delete all his favorites and his profile and bring it back to the sign up page. And then another thing that I would, there's a bunch of things I would like to add on here, but I think I'd like to have more information on owning a dog, what you need to own a dog, resources for getting your dog trained, things like that. But that's basically my app. And thank you guys very much for hearing my presentation.
Awesome. Thank you, Nikki. Also, I think Ace would definitely want to adopt his namesake. I think he's like a very vain cat in that way. So Ace is my cat's name, for those of you who know now. All righty. I'm going to throw it on over to Eric to ask a couple of questions.
Yeah. So unless it's a different API, I'm pretty sure I've used Pet Finder, and there's like a lot of data going on there.
Yeah, there is.
So great wrangling that. And that was obviously conveyed with, all the fields, got radio buttons. It's like 0 to N, like how many, fields or things are in this collection, and just thinking about those things. So what were some challenges working with such an API?
Oh, well, there were a bunch, but to your point about all the fields, one of them was actually parsing all that data. I originally tried to do it on the back end where I was, filtering it down to what I was going to want in the front end. But because of some of the data was missing, like sometimes you get a dog that didn't have pictures or didn't have certain data, so it would cause problems. So what I did was just basically left it all in there, and then I let the front end do the work where it would parse out that data. And then Danny had to show me how to use the Rails cache, because to use this API, you have to submit your key and your secret and get an access token. So you don't want to ping the API every time you make a request for an access token as well. So I put a Rails cache feature in where it stores that access token for an hour. And then if it needs a new one, it knows to go look for it.
That is huge. So especially with my job, we're pushing so much data and saving it. What can we save? And that's depending on, what gigs you got and how you want to implement stuff. That's a very good skill and thing in knowing when to be able to utilize a cache. So that's great. What was probably the feature that was the most enjoyable to implement for you?
Well, just bringing up all the pictures of dogs. I love dogs. It was very hard for me not to adopt a whole bunch of them. But back end is really more of my thing. So I really enjoyed that whole process, especially making the query. There was a whole bunch of conditional logic in the back. So that took things like, I live in an apartment versus a house, so I need a small dog, or I don't know how to train a dog, so I need a dog that's already potty trained, things like that. So putting that query in using string interpolation to come up with that was probably one of the most rewarding parts.
For sure. Yeah. Dog photos, anything related to that. And yeah, Danny, you weren't kidding about being kind of maybe back-end centric or focused with this group.
Yeah, seems like this group really likes back-end stuff. I can't blame them. Back-end stuff is super fun. And yeah, another thing that Nikki didn't show us that's super cool is what you were just talking about, Nikki, that the user information with that edit form and all those form fields that she's got going on there, those are all saved to like a user's profile, and it's saved in the database for that particular user. And then she has this like crazy method that's taking and crunching all that user data and then sending all of that with the query to get back dog matches, and just like filtering through the data with all of those query parameters to get back just dogs that match these particular parameters. So that's pretty cool too. Something that you didn't get a chance to like show us in terms of code, but that you implemented, that was very cool. And yeah, the Rails caching thing, I totally forgot about that. We did some caching with the token because her API actually requires that you get a token before you can send any web requests to the API. So Nikki had a lot of really specific challenges to overcome, and she overcame each and every one of them actually quite easily. I was super impressed. So well done, Nikki. And yes, it was also very hard to look at pictures of dogs when Nikki got to front end all the time. So I feel that. All right. Cool. I'm going to pass it on over to our very next presenter, Danielle, my namesake. All righty.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Danielle Bryant, and I will be presenting my app, My MS Pal. For those who aren't familiar with the disease, MS is basically a disease in which the person's immune system attacks the covering of the nerve cells, ultimately resulting in damaging the central nervous system, which can impact someone's vision, their speech, and also their mobility. So as someone who has a parent and also a close friend with MS, I wanted to create an app that would allow people with MS to connect with one another, find groups, help them build that community, help them build that support of people who understand their struggles and what they're going through. So basically right now we're looking at the homepage. A user can go ahead and easily sign up. There's my sign up page, and active users can go ahead and log in. I am actually going to log in as an administrator just because I do have users and administrators have a little bit more access than your regular user. Oh, my apologies, bear with me. Okay, there we go. All righty. So the person is automatically brought to the home page. They can just scroll, see little pictures, and also an inspirational quote for the day. They can go to their profile. Immediately when they go to the profile, they have a message welcoming them back to the app, an inspirational quote that's randomly generated. I use the third-party API for that and kind of filtered to for wisdom. So the quote should be some kind of wisdom for the person, something positive for them to look at when they log in. Over to my left, I have articles about MS that I use the third-party API, news API, to go ahead and generate articles. And I made a filter on the back end just for it to show articles dealing with MS. So the person can click on it. It'll automatically take them to the source where the article is written. So you can go ahead and read that real quickly. They choose to do so. If they scroll down a little bit, they can see their information, their location, diagnosis date, if they choose to put one in, as well as the age group that they fall into. Scroll a little down, you see the groups that the person belongs to. They can go ahead and check that out if they would like to for updates or see what's going on within their groups. They can just hit group details to bring them to the group show page. And basically you have your title, you have a little blurb or summary, the location. I wanted to make all my groups virtual for those who are immobile or just can't make it for whatever reason to a meeting. They can go ahead and still be a part of the group and their meeting and feel up to date with everything. So within the group, they can leave the group if they choose to do so. You have your group members listed over here on the left, as well as some messages. People kind of message back and forth. With my person being an admin, she has the right to go ahead and edit the group or delete the group altogether. And she can also just have a message here, send that. She can delete the message if she chooses to do so. And also admins have the right to delete messages if they are offensive, because we want to make this a positive space for everybody. So to see the list of the groups that the app currently has, you just hit group info, go over to groups, and you'll see all the groups that the app that's within the app currently. You can search by location as well as name. Let's say Alice wants to find a parenting MS group. She can go ahead and type in parenting. It'll bring up one in Phoenix, Arizona. She'll click more information and she can go ahead and check that group out and join if she chooses to do so. And she can also lead the group if she wants to. For those who don't see a group that kind of caters to them, or they don't see one that they particularly like, or they're just missing something, people can go ahead and create groups. So we'll go ahead and briefly create a group. I just have some text over here that I will bring up. Just bear with me. Get some music lovers. We'll make it Nashville, which I believe is the music capital of the US. Make it virtual. Someone can just put in some brief little meeting notes about how often they meet, all that good stuff. We want to make sure we have our link for those who can't attend and a nice little image. So be a little appealing for everyone. Okay, so it is categorized alphabetically. So we have our music lovers group. click more information. And as you see, title, everything, they can go ahead and join the group if they would like. And Alice being an admin, she can just go ahead and delete the group if she sees fit. Okay. So basically, that is my app in a nutshell. In regards to difficulties, I was basically building out my profile page just because there's kind of a lot going on. A person can add their profile to their profile. I had a third-party API for the inspirational quote, as well as the articles that generate. So that was a little cumbersome. And then having the group information, so showing the current group that person is a part of to show up on their page, as well as the group show page. That was a little bit much as well. Some future implementations that I would like to put in is definitely some notifications. So if someone's unable to visit the app for whatever reason, they have a busy day or whatnot, but they still want to make a meeting, so I would like to implement like notifications so the person can receive it on the email. So they know like, hey, the meeting was canceled, I don't have to go to it or whatnot, or it's been rescheduled. So yeah, that would be something I'd definitely like to implement. And that is my app, my MS Pal.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Danielle, for presenting. I always love when like students choose projects that are also like super close to their hearts. So this was really nice to see come to life. I'm going to go ahead and throw it on over to Jay to ask a couple of questions.
Yeah, Danielle, this is such a meaningful app, and I very much appreciate it. Yeah, a couple of technical related questions. One is, you talked about how you have like the regular users versus the admins, and the admins have more capabilities. Was that difficult? How did you navigate through that complexity?
It wasn't too difficult. I just had to do some if statements, a little bit of conditioning on the back end and front end. One thing that I did kind of accidentally do is that, well, the goal was to have group admins, but I ended up coding to where the person is just an overall admin. So that would be something also that I will implement to make sure that those who are group admins will actually have those rights and just not general admins. Yeah.
Got it. I'd love to hear more about that news related API. And you mentioned that you filtered it for MS related articles. How did you go about doing that?
Basically, it was very easy to work with. So I just basically said that I just wanted MS related articles on the back end and only to show those. So it was very easy API to work with. So I just put in multiple sclerosis and that was the ones that generated.
Got it. So like this, like in the API, you like specify the term multiple sclerosis.
Correct.
But would MS also, can you just put the acronym MS with that?
Yes, either or. I can't remember the exact logic, but yeah, so it's multiple sclerosis or MS, so it's able to pick up on either or.
Okay, got it. Cool. What would you say is like your proudest moment when it came to building this app? Like that aha, like I got it.
I would say when I finally got the theme working in the way that I wanted to and kind of fix some margins within the CSS, within the articles and things of that nature. So once it was actually fully implemented, I got it looking the way I wanted to on the front end. It was kind of like take a deep breath. It's like, all right, this is pretty cool.
That's awesome. And it looks great.
Thank you. Thank you.
You definitely pulled it off. This is a fantastic app, Danielle. Congrats.
Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah. And also I'll make a quick note about theme stuff. So a lot of my students, I kind of force the students into using these Bootstrap HTML themes. And they're like oftentimes really complicated to work with because you're basically importing someone else's code and trying to work with it. The reason I make all my students do this is, of course, because if your app doesn't look really shiny and pretty, people will spend less time looking at it and exploring all the neat features that you made. So I like for their apps to look good. And then you wind up with this, you wind up with like a really nice looking app. But yeah, it can be kind of difficult to work with those themes. So kudos to you for working with the theme and actually getting it to wrangling it to do what you want it to do and getting it to actually populate the way you want it to. I know that's definitely a challenge. So well done. Yeah. All righty. And who's next on my list? I'm passing it over to Nate. Show us what you made, Nate.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thanks for your time today. My name's Nate Alvarado. And I really like entertainment. I watch a lot of movies, read a lot of books, listen to a lot of music, play a lot of video games. And I often have strong opinions about whatever I'm engaging with. So one issue I frequently run into is just having a lot of disparate applications, like having a bunch of different watch lists. Frequently, these applications have kind of limited history tracking, and a lot of them don't have really robust like review and rating systems. So what I did to kind of resolve those issues is create the Mediapedia application, which you see here. Just kind of starting through, it has a nav bar at the top. You can log in, sign up. The sign up's pretty straightforward, just user, email, password, register. Then you can actually log in to get into the actual application itself. So let me log in quickly. Once you're in the application, it actually just drops you on the kind of home page, which is the index page here. I'll kind of start with the nav bar. Once you're logged in, it changes a little bit. We have the home link here, a My Profile option where you can update all your information or delete your account if you no longer want to use it. And then log out, of course. You also have the Add New Media button here. On the index itself, you'll have a couple different filter options. You can filter by different media types. So if I wanted to have just TV shows, movies, that's all there. And you can also filter by your completion status. So if you'll notice, each one of these have these little color-coded pills: completed, not started, in progress. So I kind of use those to kind of store things. I'm like, books or media that I'm like, takes a little bit longer, like a TV show or a book. So you also have a search bar here, so I can type in like the title. So if I want to see Alien, that comes up there. And also have some basic sorting by ascending or descending order there. All right, so for the index itself, you'll have either the kind of the art for it, like album art here, movie poster here, the name of the piece of media, what I currently rated it at, the medium it's coming from, so music, movies, TV, etc. And then the reviews listed right here. And again, that color-coded tag indicating kind of where you're at with it. You can actually get into the more information from the media by clicking the title of it. So if I click the album here, I'll see some additional information about it. So I can see the artist, the genre, when it was released. And then I can make updates by clicking the Update Media button here. Things that change a little bit. So depending on what type of media you're looking at, you'll either have kind of an artist here. If it's a movie, you'll see it has the director instead. You'll also notice like TV and movies will have a plot and cast section as well that doesn't appear for the other medium types that aren't relevant. So again, Update Media just kind of turns your show page into opens it up as a free text field, so you can kind of adjust things, change things around if you need to. Click Save once you're done, and then you're kind of back on the index page here. You can also add new media. So I recently just saw the Dune movie, so I want to kind of add that to my history here. So I'll click Add New Media. It's just kind of a form here. You'll see the image at the top is blank. You select the category. Again, this has kind of specific syntax. So if I do movie or television, plot and cast appear. If I wanted to do like a video game or something, I'll see that changed to studio instead of director, and then release, and our plot and cast are now gone as well. So we'll do the Dune movie quickly. I just watched that. So I'll just add a title here. I have some text I can just bring over to make this a little faster. Add that in there. Oops. Oh, I messed that up. Sorry. Let me start that over. All right. And then one kind of cool feature I have on here is when we actually get to the image piece, it will actually fill in with the image URL and kind of populate what you have on here kind of as soon as it's entered in real time. So I'll get to that in just a minute. Adding in the image there. So I'll just throw that in there. And then you can see once that's added and I scroll back up, I can actually see the poster for the movie there. So just to save time, I'll go ahead and just kind of leave it as is. Let me add my rating and review. I'll just drop that in there. And then I will go ahead and create new media. Now that is now going to populate on our list here. So I can now see that the Dune movie is here. So I got it here with the rating, my review, what category it is and kind of the status there. So yeah, that's my application. Again, trying to resolve all the kind of having a consolidated watch list, have reviews and things that I can look at and kind of update if I come back to it. And kind of what I want to do next with this application, just some general housekeeping things, add like a landing page for when you log out and log in, or before you log in. Add some additional filtering beyond just A to Z, Z to A filtering. And I actually was able to test a bunch of APIs for each media type, but didn't quite have enough time to implement them all into my application. So that's going to be one of the next steps here. So instead of having that kind of form that you manually fill out, you can just kind of pull all the information in from different APIs. And really, you're just adding your review and rating at that point. Other long-term things I'd like to add are like a CSV input output. So if you already have kind of a list of history that you've been watching, you just kind of upload that into the application. And then things like kind of like an analytics section. So you can have an area where you can kind of see like a year in review or something like that. Yeah, so that is my application. And thanks for taking a look at it with me.
Awesome. Thank you, Nate. And yes, I also recently saw the Doom movie. What was your review of Doom? Was it an A+ or an A-?
I gave it an A- here.
That's appropriate. I might go with a B+, but I'm in the same camp.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll throw it over to Jay for a couple of questions.
Yeah, Nate, this is a fantastic app. First of all, Mediapedia is an awesome name. This has such a clean look. So I know Danny talked about themes. Was this a theme? Did you have to wrangle with it much? Because it looks super clean.
Yeah. So the theme I used, some aspects of it were pretty easy. Some of it was hard, like getting these like color-coded pills to work appropriately was pretty difficult. I actually had to like adjust some of the CSS and like play around with the classes a little bit to get that to work right. But I really enjoyed like putting together like the front end for this application. I think that's reflected because I think that's kind of the thing I spent the most time with.
Got it. Obviously a big major feature of this is the filtering ability. And it seems very flexible. Tell me, like, how was it like to implement that? Was that complex or, tell me more about that.
Yeah. So I actually used Vue2 filters library to implement that functionality. I want to kind of add a little bit more to it from where I just kind of left off, where right now it's just kind of basic filtering here. Definitely want to add things like created at, updated at, kind of different criteria to make it a little bit more robust than kind of the initial build for it.
Mm-hmm. If you like select, let's say books, will the search when you use the search feature, so it fills it with book, that's how it works?
Yeah, so I also want to have these kind of disconnected as well, so you can actually like use these kind of independently of each other.
I see. Got it.
But for now, it works like that. So you can really only do kind of a filter here and search by a title.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually I'll have those kind of independent where you filter from the radios up here and then kind of use the search bar separately to get kind of like better functionality out of that.
Yeah, got it. That makes sense. What part of this do you enjoy building the most?
Yeah, I would say the front end part was kind of the most fun, which I really didn't expect to be the case. Again, kind of like the most of my class, the back end kind of is what I'm more comfortable with, but I really did enjoy kind of putting the front end together for this project. So definitely coming around to that side of the engineering career choices.
Yeah, it looks so good. Yeah, I love this app. Really nice job. Congrats, Nate.
Thank you.
Yeah, it does look super good. And it's looked good for like a really long time, actually. Like this wasn't like a last minute rush job. Nate came to me, I'm like long time ago. And he was like, hey, here's what I've got so far. And I'm like, what? I'm like, this looks so good. I remember, he spent a lot of time really focusing on making sure that it had the aesthetic that he wanted. And I think that really paid off. It looks dope. Cool. Well done, Nate. And with that, I'm going to throw it on over to our next presenter. Hayden, you're up.
Hello. Alrighty. Like that. Awesome. All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Hayden Regnano. I am from California, and I like nice long walks on the beach. Now, that's a lie. I actually like really long gaming sessions and sitting in my chair. So that's kind of what inspired my app. I have a lot of friends that like to game with me, but I have a lot of friends that like to stream and game. So they're a layer deeper than I am. And with that, I've noticed a lot of their struggles in trying to build a community. For instance, my friend Trevor, he's always on top of like promoting his stream, networking on his Snapchat, Instagram, saying, come join me. And almost every night it's like me watching, his wife watching, his brother, and himself. So when it has like 4 viewers, 5 viewers, I'm like, dang, like how could I take my new talents and turn that into something that could help him? So I came up with this app called MyStream, kind of ripped off MySpace a little bit, but it is what it is. And so let me go ahead and make a user. So I have chosen Terry Crews to make for all of us because he is an absolute king. Let me go ahead and add that. Password. And one more time. And signed it. Awesome. So with my app, I wanted it to be very kind of quick to sign up and edit your profile, but I also wanted to make sure like you are making yourself filterable, because filters really come into play with my app. That's kind of like the meat and potatoes of it. So I'm going to go ahead and throw up an image for Terry Crews and his stream URL. For those of you that didn't know, Terry Crews is actually a gamer, and he likes to stream with his son. And I thought that was super cool. So here is going to be the game of choice. So it's going to be based off what game you want to play for the day, because you can only really play one game at a time. So let's say Terry Crews is fond of Halo Infinite. It is not out yet, but it will be December 6th, and I'm very excited. And then in here with the bio, it says, feel free to leave your Discord information or any contact info that you are comfortable with, just as a little placeholder to let you know, hey, like let people have the ability to reach out to you. So Terry Crews, hey, Big T Crews here. I'm an absolute unit and I'm super jacked. I smell like Old Spice and pure muscle. Love gaming with my son and destroying lobbies. And then feel free to message Terry Crews at Terry C 1010. And then our tag section. So Terry Crews, let's say he's pretty casual. He's obviously famous, so he's got 500 plus followers. He's on Twitch. He's fun, and let's say he's chill. And so you go ahead and update your profile. Terry Crews, Cruise Missile right here. Awesome. And then here is his Twitch stream link, which actually works. So I'll just go ahead and demonstrate that. It puts you in a separate window. So that way you can go ahead and go back. And there's Terry Crews. Go back to his profile. And from here, you can go to the game show page by clicking on the banner for the game, but I want to just go ahead and demonstrate all the games I have. So here is my games index of all the games that I have put on there right now. These are like the top like 15 most popular games at the moment on Twitch. So let's go back real quick. And then we go to Halo Infinite. And so now here's all the other users that are playing Halo Infinite right now, or say that they are, and they are looking for someone to network with them. But it's kind of a lot. So Terry Crews wants to find people that are somewhat like him. So let's find some dad gamers, because Terry Crews is a dad gamer. So there's Conor McGregor, dad, Dr. Respect. So there's still quite a bit. So Terry Crews wants to narrow his search down to people maybe with the same amount of fame as him, or make it a little bit easier to grow their communities together, make it a little bit more fun for himself. So he's going to say 500 viewers. So you got Dr. Disrespect, Danny DeVito, Post Malone. So there's only 3 now, so that's pretty good. So let's go ahead and check out Dr. Disrespect, the 2-time. Right here, here's Dr. Disrespect's profile. He's like, okay, he's seeming a little too competitive for me, so he can go back and maybe choose, oh, my bad, 500 and dad gamers. Go to Post Malone maybe. Okay, he likes Post Malone, so he can go ahead and reach out to his Discord, or he can go ahead and check out his Twitch channel, which is actually a real Twitch channel as well, and go ahead and check it out and make his decision based on that. With that, my favorite thing about my app actually is going to be the my multi-select filter. This like made me super happy when I got it to work. This is like my big envisionment from the very beginning. If there's something I can change about my app, I would definitely want to have a bigger games index, and maybe the ability to show who is actually online at the time and how many people are online for each game. I thought that would have been really cool to implement. I just didn't really have the ability to do that yet. And also maybe to add some OAuth with Discord, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube. But I felt like it was going to be really difficult to get all that to come together and mesh pretty evenly, and giving people the ability to like contact with one another through it consistently. So that's kind of a problem that I'm going to save for the future, but I don't think it's unattainable. Other than that, that's pretty much my project. Thank you for listening.
Awesome. Thank you, Hayden. Yeah, this is really fun to work on with Hayden because I am also a gamer, for those of you who don't know. I think I'm in there, right? I better be under the League of Legends.
Yeah, you got League of Legends.
Good. Just making sure, just double checking. Yes, there I am. Woohoo! I'm a Chad gamer. Sweet. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Jay for a couple of questions.
Yeah, Hayden, I love this. I also love the dark mode theme, which is apropos to the video game field. So I totally zeroed right in on the multi-select tag feature. When you were demoing that, I'm like, oh, that's super cool. I know that can be super complex. Curious to know if you can describe a little bit about the challenges that you encountered with that and how you overcame them.
So it was very difficult. I spent about 3 to 4 days of time on it by myself, and I got everything to work like visually and like everything put in. The only problem I had was the filtering, and so I finally broke down and asked Danny, and she helped me with it. I did a lot of research and trying to figure it out and putting it in 20 different ways, 20 different times, and just every single time it was broken until finally I was like, okay, how do I do this? And it essentially had to do with the computed function and the parameters with the filters and just getting them all to come together with the tags that I already have associated in my backend. So yeah, it was pretty confusing and it was really difficult, but I'm very happy that it is actually working.
Yeah, and I like how those pills come up when you
add them.
each one. Yeah,
and you can delete them. Yeah,
that's awesome. So that being said, would you say so far in your very short career, do you gravitate towards the back end or the front end?
Definitely the front end. I think it's more fun. I find it interesting. What kind of got me into coding in general is being on my computer playing video games, and it's visual. And then during the whole COVID thing, I got really into Photoshop, and so this kind of reminds me of that in a different way. And it's really hard, and I really like that. Like, it's so difficult and I'm so bad at it, and it makes me want to keep like getting better and better and better and keep trying different things different ways, because eventually you can find your way of making it work, and I think that's really fun.
Right, that's great. If you had to like go back in time and build this project again, would you do anything differently second time around?
100%. I would definitely dabble in looking in themes earlier. I feel like when I got to the point of my theme, I wish I had gone back a week prior and like been in my database and like creating more attributes and creating more things that I can plug in. Like, instead of having a bio and putting in the Discord, I wish I added like a Discord section or other contact information sections. So looking at the theme really inspired me to do more. Just unfortunately, I didn't have the time to go back and restart or add twice as much as I wanted to. So yeah, going a little bit ahead and coming back, I think, is something I would have changed.
Got it. That makes sense. That's really interesting. Well, you pulled it off. This is a really fantastic app, Hayden. I love it. Congrats.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Yeah. Hayden has like the most growth mindset ever. It's really fun to work with him because he would learn something and he's like a little sponge and just grabbed onto it. And I didn't really need to help that much. He really had like all of it figured out on his own. Yeah. And it was just like a property that he didn't know about that we like implemented, and it was done. It's great. Cool. Awesome presentation, Hayden. It was super streamlined, I'm going to go ahead and throw it over to our next presenter, who is Jack. So Jack, our next and last presenter, Jack, you're our caboose. Wrap us up. Let's do it.
Wow. It'll be a challenge to follow all of those presentations, but I will do my best. So my app is called Spotifilter, and it's very music themed, specifically Spotify related. So I'll sign up while I kind of talk about what the app is, why I made it, and what it can do. So I am an avid Spotify user. I've been on the platform for 10 years or so. And with that comes a lot of playlists and a lot of growing playlists that kind of became monstrous in size. And a challenge that I have been dealing with over time is that some of those playlists can really change mood based on what song comes on shuffle. So if I'm on the treadmill and I'm running and all of a sudden a calm song comes on, I press stop on the treadmill and I hop right off. So I wanted to think about how can I take my already existing playlists that are 200 songs and create a filtered version of that with just the highest energy songs or the calmest songs to bring me back down. And after some feasibility research on the Spotify API, I found out that they actually track all that data. Not sure how, but they do. And so I set out to use that data to make my app. So once you're logged in, I'm instructed to select a playlist, but first I need to authorize with Spotify's OAuth. So Cheddar, if Ace gets to adopt a dog on Nikki's app, then you get to access my Spotify account. So I'm gonna authorize with my real Spotify account because that's what we're doing. We're using real data. So now that Cheddar is connected to my Spotify, we should have my index of playlists populate. So I'll sort by title to start, and we're gonna get the collection of playlists with the amount of tracks that they have found below. Because my app is kind of geared towards taking your large playlists and filtering them down into a certain mood, I included this sort by tracks button. So something like the Sweet As playlist, which I've been adding to for years and years, has too many moods to just try to put on it at the gym and hope for the best. So what I might do is go to the Sweet As playlist. If I want to edit the details, I can. I really don't have a description, so lovely playlist. And so I might edit that and ping the Spotify API, tell it, hey, update my playlist description, and it did. But what I want to do with it is maybe I'm in a dancing mood. It's Friday, and I need the 50 highest danceability songs. I'll share it with the Spotifilter shared playlist section, and let's dance. I hope that we can get the 50 most danceable songs, and success, we did. So initially, my new playlist will be the same title with the filter name, and the description will be set to the dance playlist created by Spotifilter. I can edit that if I'd like, but you know what? I think it fits for now. It tells me what it is, and I'll keep it as is. So I can get a table of all my songs, the top 50 songs that Spotify believes will be the most danceable. If I go back to the index, My search filter was also important. As you can see, that that loading bar was new. I was happy to implement that. The search filter, I can search for my suite as dance playlists, and there it is. I have a couple different versions of it now. The calmest songs, the most danceable, and so I have that whenever I need those filtered versions so I don't jump off the treadmill next time. And finally, I have a section where users have created playlists, and my backend takes the 10 most recent shared on Spotify and displays them. So you can see a sample of the first 4 tracks on that playlist and go select it if you'd like to copy it for yourself. And with that, of course, a simple My Account page. Maybe Cheddar is done with this. Doesn't feel like it's dance time anymore, so Cheddar's going to log out and return to the home page. In the future, I'd love to add the ability to filter out multiple playlists at a time. Select 3, 4 different sources, create a conglomerate of playlists, and then filter them down into the highest energy playlist I can possibly make. So that's something I'd love to make and deploy it. I'd love to put it up on the web, send it out to a couple friends, see what they can do with it. So that's Spotify, and I had a lot of fun making it. It was a challenge, but I'm glad I finally got there. Thank you.
Yes, awesome. Jack, I'm sure Cheddar will be thrilled with her new dance playlist. I think maybe if future implementations, maybe a thrash playlist would be good for Cheddar.
Sure, I can see what data I can parse for that.
Seems very appropriate for her, who is my other cat, and she's quite the character. Sweet, yeah. And just so everyone knows, like Jack's working with the Spotify API. Like I basically gave Jack a couple of resources, and I was like, here you go, do some research. And he did all of this. Like this is not me helping him. This is just Jack figuring everything out, which is super, super impressive, working with such a complex third-party API. So seriously well done that you were able to get all these features in and make it so like fully featured and actually bring the vision to life. It's awesome. I'm going to throw it over to Jay for a few questions.
Yeah, this is so cool, Jack. I agree. It's really impressive. Curious to know, I'll start with OAuth because chronologically that came first. What was it like to deal with OAuth?
So that was a big hurdle to overcome. I had never worked with things like access tokens and making a cycle of API calls. So that was kind of the first learning curve I was met with. And when I finally got just a simple JSON response of my account name back, it was like falling back in the chair. Great moment. So the OAuth was one of the biggest hurdles I came across for sure.
Got it. Which makes sense, but you pulled it off. Okay, the Spotify API, easy to use, hard to use. What was that like?
So yeah, they actually have some great documentation and some nice features on there. A problem I was constantly running into is that I was most familiar with Ruby, and I was writing my backend on Ruby on Rails, so it didn't align with what their examples were. So I kind of had to look at some of their examples, which were mostly in JavaScript and curl requests, and kind of apply that to what I knew how to do. And once I kind of figured out the patterns between their API and what I could do with Ruby on Rails, it slowly came together, and then I was able to kind of do whatever I needed to with their API.
Got it. I'm curious, like with the feature of getting the most, like 50 most danceable songs, it's really cool. What does the Spotify API give you? Like how do you ask for the 50 most danceable songs, and what does it return to you? Does it give it like a score? How does that work?
Yeah, so you make a request for a certain track's ID, and you make an audio features request, and it returns this this JSON data with a bunch of obscure hidden data attributes that they track. And there are labels like dance, ability, energy, tempo, things like that. And so I literally just sorted by danceability, which returns a decimal, and sorted the 50 tracks that I'm asking for, and then returned if a user wanted the top 20, then I would return the 20 in order of greatest to least, and reverse that if they wanted something like a calm playlist.
Got it. Amazing. Yeah, this is super impressive, Jack. You should be really proud. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes, awesome. Thank you so much, Jack. And yeah, all the other stuff, I don't know if it was like totally obvious, but all the other features like editing playlists and things like actually work. They actually like really edit your real Spotify playlists, which is pretty freaking cool. Lots of heavy data movement and algorithms to search and sort and request data. So yeah, just like a feat of strength. Well done. Alrighty, I'm going to take over here and I'm going to round us out here. All right. So thank you so much to all of my awesome students for presenting your projects. Congratulations on graduating from Actualize. Yes, you did it. You presented your project and you're grads now. Yeah, seriously, so much blood, sweat, and tears put into these projects over the last 6 weeks. And of course, blood, sweat, and tears put into the coding bootcamp over the past 4 months. And I think that's really shown here. I think your projects are a testament to that. So seriously, well done to you all. I'm so proud. Can't wait to send you off into the world to be real world developers. I want to take this time just to wrap up and to thank, of course, the people once again. Thanks, Eric, for paneling for us today. Thank you, Jay, for paneling for us today. Thanks to all my awesome TAs for all the work they put in helping the students. Thank you guys, Rob and Ryan. Thank you to my career counselors who are going to be continuing the journey with our current grads and helping them through all of our job hacking curriculum and helping them actually transition into real world careers. Thank you to Lisa and Sarah for all that. And yeah, just wanted to say thanks for everyone who came and watched the live YouTube link, and to anyone who's watching this YouTube video in the future. Hello from the past. Nice to see you. And with that,